Hey all, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. For this test center video I'll be having a look at Cable. Now, despite the fact that I have Cable at Cosmic, I'm not 100% up on his skills, reason being that I Cosmic them about half a year ago, and I believe he had his big update after then, so you need to bear with me as we go through this, and if there's anything that you need to flesh out for me, please feel free to do so in the comments. But let's look at the first section here, which is Chronal Soldier. So from what I can see, everything really looks the same in this section. There's one thing that's slightly different. I've got that in my hotbar, and once we get down to it I'll discuss it. But looking at the skills, you've got Phase Magnum, which is his basic ranged attack, and that's tagged as an arsenal attack. And then you have Plasma Submachine Guns, which is your ranged trash clearer there. And then you get your quick body slide, so nothing's changed there. Actually, he's lost his role, now that I think about it, looking at them, yeah, so that's one thing that's a bit different there. Now you have, the next skill you have is Vortex Grenade, and enemies are pulled towards the centre of it and it slows them down. And then you have Viper Beam, and previously specialisations would turn it into Hyper Viper Beam, and we can gain that through talents, which we'll see in a few moments. And then we have Pulse Rifle, which is his range spender, and again, similar to Live, we can use talents to make that an actual basic skill, so it can then work well with the Book of Demonicus. And then we have Concussion Blast, and then it's Particle Accelerator. This performs the same way as in Live, as it blows up. If there's any nearby enemies, they then get tagged and they blow up as well, so that's a nice skill, I do like that. We have his signature Foresight Bomb, which just works the same as from what I can see. And then this is a little bit different. Eye for Weakness, Vulnerability, 35% damage from your powers, and enemies do 35% less damage. The cooldown is 6 seconds. Sorry, the cooldown is 15 seconds with a duration of 6 seconds, but that's because it's so powerful. And it does a different UI effect over the enemy. I'll show you here. There we go, we can see that. There's another character that does that, I can't remember who. I've looked at so many of them in TC now, but it's quite good given it's such a strong buff. It's good that it's very visual, and then you know it's on, and you know, right, it's time to start hitting my ult and my signature and so on, because the enemy's heavily debuffed. So yeah, that's interesting. But let's look at the next tree now. I've absolutely no idea how I say this. I'm going to go for Ascani Sun. I'll go for that, okay? Apologies if that's not right, but let's look at this tree anyway. Okay, now for this tree, whose name I will avoid saying for the reason that I think I've got it horribly wrong in the last segment there, it's looking at your melee and your mental skills. So you start off with Scimitar Sweep, and this is a melee area attack, and it does damage 50% to enemies directly struck by the scimitar. And then we have Mind Bullets, which is your ranged main attack for mental. Now, I've no idea if the animation's been tidied up the way it's happened in certain characters like Miss Marvel and so on, or Captain Marvel even, so I'll fire it off, but it could be the same and I've just not played them in long. But I'm pretty sure I can't remember looking as nice as that on Live, but I may as well, if anyone could be wrong, if I am, please let me know in the comments. But next up we have Scimitar Thrust, and I'm pretty sure with this particular one that the animation looks nicer as well. I bet I'm horribly wrong once again. I can't remember all the lightning coming off it. It really does look fantastic. And then we have Scimitar Slam, which again, I believe it looks really nice. If none of these have changed, then what's happened is when I've been playing Cable last, I've actually probably played them on a first iteration of TC when these big changes went through, so that'll be my excuse anyway if none of the animations then have actually changed. But next up we have Telekinetic Overload, and this is a knockdown skill, and you absorb 50% damage while the power is active. And then we have Swift Lunge, so you dash forward, cutting through enemies with a cinema through sights. Actually, I was talking about the roll earlier, maybe it's been replaced with this. Let's use this one. There we go. I think that's new. Again, I'm probably horribly wrong, but it looks new to me, so let's just call it new for the purpose of this video until you correct me. And then we have Psychokinetic Barrier. I don't see anything changing on that. It's got Weaken on it, and well, it's got Weaken on projectiles that pass through it even. And then we have Scimitar Slice, which is your melee area attack. And then we've got Psychic Haze, and what that does is that slows the enemy down and immobilises them. And then finally Telepathic Illusion, so you're mentally projecting an ally there to taunt the enemies. So simple enough. As I say, I've really not played them a massive amount, so feel free to correct me on anything I do miss here, but let's look at the talents now anyway. Okay, so if these talents and traits, they are quite similar to the specialisations on live, and it appears to kind of break them into arsenal attacks, mental attacks, and simulator attacks, so we will notice that as we go through them. But before we look at the actual talents, let's look at the traits first. So you've got Veteran Warrior, and that's critical hit damage plus 25%. The archetype is Tactician, so you're gaining a buff from the energy or intelligence attributes. And for your defensive trait, you have Techno-Organic Virus there, and once you go below a certain amount, you're gaining a kind of health boost there. Your archetype is Versatile, so you're gaining defense and dodge multiplier, and you've also got the 8% damage reduction on melee attacks as well there. So first up we have Cyclone. So with this, Scimitar Sweep makes enemies vulnerable. Scimitar Sweep damage is increased and it gains a cooldown, and all scimitar powers gain damage as well. You then have Hypercharged Blast, so this is Concussion Blast, makes enemies vulnerable, gains damage, gains a cooldown. And then finally, Psychic Haze makes enemies vulnerable and deals damage over time. So as mentioned, you can see there we've got our Scimitar, our Arsenal, and then our Scion, which is our kind of mental attack. So pretty simple there, but the difference now is on live, when you had only 3 specs, you'd spec into one and you were locked into it, but in this you could mix and match a little bit, so it should create some interesting builds. But let's look at line number 2. So you've got Techno-Organic Interface, and you regenerate 100% in your maximum health and spirit when you're defeated, see enemies on the mini-map, and Techno-Organic Virus's health regeneration boost can trigger twice as often, so that's pretty nice there. And then we have Kinetic Repulsion, so when enemies enter melee range, trigger a Kinetic Repulse. It applies guarded to allies while you're also in combat as well there. And you can see on the tooltip the guarded is giving you base health and health regen as well. And then we have Techno-Organic Soldier, so if one gun mastery, one psychic mastery and one spear mastery talent is selected, the following effects apply to you while you're in combat. So it's damage 25%, critical hit, brutal strike, base health, spirit cost reduction, they're all getting buffed there. And for talent line number 3, you've got Subspace Vortex, so its pulse rifle no longer costs any spirit and is considered a basic power, and Vortex Grenade deals additional damage over time. And then we have the option of turning Scimitar Slice into a basic attack as well there, and in turn that would buff Scimitar Thrust. And then finally you've got Psychic Illusion, which would in turn make Mind Bullets a basic attack as well, and that would buff Psychic Illusion and transform it into Psionic Illusion. Psionic Illusion has the ability to attack enemies, it's a shorter cooldown and gains multiple charges there. Let's click it so we can see. There we go, we can see that that's changed. And next up we have Scimitar Expert, so Foresight Bomb is now considered a scimitar power. Scimitar Slam gains power damage 25%. Then Foresight Bomb is now considered an arsenal power, that's for Weapons Expert. And Particle Accelerator gains 25%. And then you have Psionics Expert, where Foresight Bomb is now considered a Scion power. Telekinetic Overload gains the following effects. So that's all very kind of structured how it's doing that. The Foresight Bomb is triggering each of them. I'm not 100% sure the reason behind it, how that would fit into your builds, maybe for actually kind of proccing different hybrid type nodes, whatever, I'm not sure. Again, if you guys have got any ideas behind that, then please do let me know. And for the 5th and final line, we've got Hyper Viper Beam, so that will transform Viper Beam into Hyper Viper Beam, simple enough there. And then you've got Lethal Lunge, so with this, Swift Lunge makes enemies weakened and your scimitar attacks gain power damage, and Swift Lunge deals additional damage over time. And then finally you've got Psionic Rift, so Psychokinetic Barrier makes enemies weakened, Psychokinetic Barrier deals additional damage over time, and that gives you your buff to your Scion attacks. So as you can see, it's very much split into Scion, Scimitar, Arsenal, but you now have the freedom to mix and match what ones you want, so there really should be some interesting builds coming from this. Hope you enjoyed this particular video. Apologies that I kind of struggled a bit, I've been feeling a bit rough all day, and I think This is now potentially about my 15th video I've done. I've been doing it for about the past 10 hours now, so I'm absolutely shattered, and I think I'm going to get off to bed and hopefully get a good sleep. But thanks for tuning in, thanks for all your support in these videos. If you do like them, I'll just say at the end, please do take that extra second just to like, makes all the difference. But thanks once again, and see you soon.